clown.
Okay.
Today we're here at Mother Helen Wilson's home, and we are interviewing her so we can get some history via video. And I think that this is awesome that she's allowed us to come into her home, and we appreciate you for doing this. So on behalf of Pastor Griffin and Elder Tucker, who's spearheading Founders Day, we just want to thank you for opening up your home and allowing us to come in and chat with you today.
And you're welcome.
Thank you. I think that, as members of St. Matthew's Temple, many people don't know all the history, and it's very historic. And especially, you alluded to the fact that when your dad originally came to Utica to start his church, there were only 2 black churches in the area.
Yes.
And you said it was St. Paul's and Hope Chapel. And then your dad found out that there was a Church of God in Christ in Rome.
Yes.
Which was the Stovall's church, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. And when your dad started the church, you said he originally started the first church on Whitesboro and Washington Street on the corner.
Yeah, but we first had prayer meeting in our house.
Before he started?
Yeah, before he started that church. And and when Ella Stovall in Rome told him about these 2 ladies that belonged to the Church of God in Christ, Mother Graves and Sister Johnson, then they started coming to our house for prayer meeting.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And then from prayer meeting, that's when we went on the corner of, let's see, there was Whitesboro Street and Washington Street here, and it was a old barber shop sitting right there on the corner, and that's where my father started the church at.
Do you remember how many members when he started?
It was his family and Mother Graves and Sister Johnson. But my father's brother, he was here with us too.
Okay.
Julius Blackshell.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. And you said that at that time, your parents had 7 children, and you were a teenager when you came up here?
Yeah, I was 14, and then the other ones were, let's see, Mildred and Thelma, they were younger than me, but I don't remember their age. Okay. And the other one was older than me.
Okay. And you had one brother who was already married, you said? Yeah,
he was married, and he came up here. He came to Utica with us, but he went back to Florida, see? Okay. When we came up here, I didn't ever go back to Florida.
Oh, wow. So that must have been, that must have been interesting, as a young girl to be 13, 14, and then your father say he's going to start a church. What was your mother's reaction when he said he wanted to start a church?
Oh, my father had started churches in Florida.
Oh,
we was used to this. And the only thing my father ever did was preach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So your mom, she was like, whatever.
Yes. Whatever my father wanted to do, it was all right.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, as the church began to grow, you said that your father was back door. So Mother Wilson, you were saying that when your dad came up, your mom, she was like, okay, whatever. Did she call him Matthew?
She Blackshell, that's what she used to call him.
She called him Blackshell. Yeah. So he, you said that he started churches. Were they also Church of God in Christ in Florida?
Were Church of God in Christ, but my father was he belongs to the Baptist or the Methodist. My mother was Baptist and my father was Methodist.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. So how did they become Church of God in Christ?
Well, that happened in Florida. That happened down south.
Wow. Okay. And so, the Church of God in Christ, from my understanding, was that fairly new to black people? Pentecostal and holiness and holy rollers?
No, that wasn't new because that's what we was down south.
Mm-hmm. But when you came up here, for it to not, for St. Matthew's Temple to be the first, from what it sounds like, St. Matthew's Temple was the first Church of God in Christ in Utica.
It was.
First Pentecostal church at home.
Wow.
It was only two.
Two black churches?
Yeah, St. Paul's and Hope Chapel. Those were the only two.
See, my family helped start Hope Chapel. That much I do know.
Yeah.
So, you say he started in 1942?
Yes.
1942. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, was his brother, you said he had a brother named Julius. Was his brother in a ministry like him? Was he?
No.
No? He only had that one brother, or he had other brothers and sisters?
No, that's the only brother, but he had 3 sisters.
3 sisters. They all lived in Florida?
No, let's see. Aunt Mary lived in...
Y'all had a lot of Marys in your family.
Aunt Mary lived in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And Aunt Carrie lived in Newark.
Wow.
And what the other one's name? He had another sister. And she lived in Philadelphia.
Wow. Did they ever come up to Utica to see his church?
Yeah, they came. They came, but not many times.
Okay. Wow. So in 1942, when your dad came up, a lot, and you made mention that a lot of people were migrating from Florida, and I know that a lot of people came to Utica via, say, the bean field or to pick beans, and so they came. So that's how he got a lot of his members, you think?
Yeah. Yes.
He's working.
Wow. So do you think that
Well,
some of the people...
He was, what you call him?
Like he recruited, or...
Yeah, he was recruiting the people. That's what my father was doing. He was recruiting the people, and they came to Richfield Spring.
Wow. I do know that some people came via that way, Richfield Spring, and so they lived there because that was where a lot of the bean.
Yeah, they lived there, and I can't remember who was out there. But I know some came, and then some just came from Florida because they knew my father.
Oh, wow.
Because Mother Pringer and I can't remember who else. I know Mother Pringer came to Utica by knowing my father.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you remember any other saints?
And Deacon Dana, him and his family, they came, I think they was out to Richfield Spring, but I'm not really sure. But ask Selma.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Because I also know that my husband's family came via Alabama, but they also came up due to the migration as well back then. Wonderful, wonderful. So, after the first church, after you moved from the living room, doing prayer meetings and Bible study, Bible study as well. You went to 130 Washington Street.
No, we went to the corner of
Washington and Whitesboro.
Yeah.
And then you went to. And you said that they saved their money to buy that building.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And that was you think it was like 130 Washington Street? How many people you think it was at that time?
I don't know, but it was quite a few. Sister Sammy and them came. Sister Sammy and them, they came on Washington Street.
Okay.
Just another Mamie and Queen and all them?
Or just
Sister Sammy?
Was Sister Sammy, was she married at that time? Or she came with her sisters and Deacon Mike?
And she came with her sister. She wasn't married at that time. She married Ella Samuel.
We will be interviewing her as well, which is wonderful.
And if I'm not making a mistake, my father married Sister Queen and Brother Oscar, I believe. So you can ask Sister Queen.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Speaking of weddings, what other weddings do you think, or do you think you can remember that your dad married?
That's the only one I remember.
Okay.
I don't remember who married Sister Samuel. But I know he married
Sister Queen.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I don't. And Sister Mamie Sue was already married when I knew about her.
Okay. Okay.
I think she was living in Washington Court, because when we came to Utica, and we was on St. Anthony Street, and then from St. Anthony Street, I know we moved to Washington Street, and we had to move from Washington Street because they were gonna build that project with
Washington Courts?
Washington Court.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to move. A lot of places down there had to move because of that.
Okay.
Oh, so Washington Street obviously went down further?
Yeah, Washington Street used to go down to
the train station, like the tracks.
Yeah, down to where the track is at.
And then they built it to make it where it cut that off pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. So after they left Washington Street, they went to 104 Catherine Street.
401.
I'm sorry, 401.
Yeah, 401
Catherine Street. And at that time, there was a lot of members.
Yeah, it was quite a few members then. And then, see, my father passed away while we was over there.
Oh, Catherine.
Yes. And then Elder Griffin Sr. became pastor.
Now, back up for a minute. When you moved to 401 Catherine Street, what are some of the families that you remember that were at the church? Some of the family names that you remember?
Mother Brown.
Was it Mother Beauty Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
And who else?
What she saying? Everybody.
She said her name.
Oh, was it Mother Hawkins was there by then? Corrine?
Yes.
Corrine Hawkins and
Odell, what's his name, I think?
Odell Hawkins.
What about Missionary Jackson?
Yeah, but so when she come around?
She came what? Well, I remember her.
On Washington Street.
She was up on before Catherine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know she had a bit of fireball.
Yeah.
Who else you remember? Oh, what about Sister Helen Williams, Sister Frazier's mother? She was over there then?
That's it. When we was on Washington Street right there, Sister Helen Williams' mother lived on Whitesboro Street upstairs, because she used to be looking out sometime when we come out of church. And I don't remember who right off.
That's okay.
And
are there any families from our church now, people that are at the church now, like were some of their parents there or some of their grandparents?
You mean from the beginning?
Yeah, like when you were at, I'm just trying to think, like when you were at 401 Catherine Street, do you remember some of the families? And now at St. Matthew's Temple in 2014, some of the families, like
the names of the children,
yeah, like their children
is
still at St. Matthew's Temple.
Sister Sammy and her sisters
So their family and lineage is still there.
They're still there. They're still there.
We still see Sister Frazier, Helen Williams, her family. They still come. So they're still the Dingles. Yeah. Trying to think.
Deacon March, he was there then?
Yeah, that's all the marches right there. And his brother, the pastor over there. The friendship.
Sister or missionary Aloni Brooks, was she there at that time?
Yes. And Brother Tommy Brooks, he had, what his brother's name was?
I forgot his brother.
He had Jonathan and Joan's father.
Yeah.
He was there.
Yeah.
And then Frank,
And
you got John, he had a
brothers.
brother named John. Because Jermaine's grandfather, which would have been Frank Brooks.
Yeah, Frank.
Uh-huh.
And Joe.
Joe.
So that would be Joseph Anthony, wouldn't it?
Yes.
What was Sister Pearline's husband? Pearline Brooks. What was her husband?
That was Frank.
Okay, Frank. Okay. And Brooks family still in the lineage now.
Yeah.
And you gotta put Brother Fisher down.
Fisher?
Yeah, Brother Fisher.
Did he have a family? Brother Fisher have a family?
I don't think so.
Okay. Like the deacons, who were some of the deacons? I know Deacon Dingle was a Dingle. I mean,
Dingle and Hawkins.
they were the deacons. Who were the missionaries? You remember who the missionaries were?
Who made up that group? Who kept that work going?
Mother Brown and Jackson. Sister Lonnie Brooks.
I'm trying to think of all those people. I didn't even know anybody from back then.
I'm just trying to remember. Did your father do any street ministry? Did he go out in the street?
Tent revivals, things like
Revivals
that.
and
Corner.
He used to go on the corners.
I was say Bishop Mason used to preach on the corner. So I'm sure that passed on down for everybody.
And my father started a church in Syracuse too.
he did.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the name of it.
Somebody said, I know it was Church of Christ, of course, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking there was Peyton out there, Peyton Memorial. There's Foursquare Gospel, Brotherly Love. There's Bread of Life, Evangelical. What's another one that's been there for a long time? I'm trying to think. Living Waters, Church of God in Christ out there.
I don't remember the name, but Axel Griffin, the name of the church.
Okay, but he started a church in Syracuse.
Yeah, he started.
So he used to go back and forth?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
We used to broadcast on the radio from Rome. From Syracuse, because we used to leave Utica on Sunday night and go to Syracuse, so my father would be on the broadcast.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I can't remember the name of the broadcasting
That's
station,
okay.
but I know he used to broadcast.
Oh wow.
Ella Griffin probably know.
Okay.
Too bad we didn't have any tapes of that. That
You
would
know what?
be
You'd be surprised.
beautiful.
Somebody may have something somewhere.
Because
Yeah.
if we knew what radio station,
You might have it in the
they would
archives.
probably have it in the archives.
Maybe
That would-
WIBX.
Wow. Okay.
Try WIBX.
They probably will. Because even the library has things. Even as I've done history research for my family, I can go back to the
Yeah.
late 1700s on some of the
You
things.
probably can find something.
Response.
You probably can find something.
Realize how much lineage your family has between Utica and Syracuse. Like you guys have like blood relatives in Syracuse, hard in Syracuse. I didn't know that.
Yes, a lot of them over there in Syracuse.
Yeah, I thought, that's where your music department. Because I sing, stuff like that. Who held down the music department back then? You know
Brother
what?
Nate Thomas.
Nate Thomas?
Nate
Yes, he could
Thomas.
sing.
Oh my gosh.
Nate Thomas and Samuel.
Oh, they was the singers back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was before Sister Samuel married Ella Samuel though.
Oh, wow.
And
Was he brother Samuel, or what? He wasn't minister
Or
Samuel?
deacon or anything
Well,
like that.
he became a minister.
Was he a minister before they married?
I believe he was, but I'm not sure.
I
You have
think
to ask
so.
him.
And he was the assistant pastor at one point? Elder Samuel? Was it?
I think
Yes.
was he?
He was Ella Griffin's
Assistant.
assistant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you even have an assistant pastor for your father?
Ella Griffin was my
And
father.
who else sang? I'm A. Dare. Brother A. Dare. He was singing the hell
Yeah, Ella.
Was he around Catherine Street or prior to Catherine?
prior.
Ella Samuel was over. I mean, he was over on Catherine Street.
Okay. And when did somebody mention Frank Bozier or something like that? What was he? Was he in the music department or was
Oh
he?
yeah, he got tambourines.
He beat the tambourine. Yeah, and he used to sing a lot of song leading devotion.
Okay, they always tell me. I remind them of them.
Yeah.
He with the tambourine, he'd sit down and
Wow.
And then Willie tried to shout like him.
So who I know they played the washboard a lot. So Brother Oscar was the one that did the washboard, because I've seen him in action.
Deacon Danger.
Oh
I'm telling you. Men did so much back then. Did more than just sit around.
and the Taylors were there for a short period. He used to play the washboard.
Steve Taylor's family.
Oh wow.
What other who do you know who played the drums?
Deacon Danger.
They was doing it.
They did not. They just had multi purposes.
Who played the organ?
Or piano.
Was it Deacon Brooks?
Brooks.
Tommy Brooks.
Tommy played the piano.
Rochester.
Do you have a favorite song that y'all used to sing back then? Like a favorite devotional song?
I can't think right now.
Okay, I'll let you think and come back to you. Now your mom, because we don't hear a lot about your mother, and for her to be the first lady of St. Matthew's Temple back then, how was things? You know what I mean? How was things for her? You know what I mean? For her husband to come to Utica, bring his family. That's a big undertaking, and then for her to have
My
to help
mother
support
used to
him.
participate in everything that went on in St. Matthew Temple.
Wonderful. And what was your mother's name again?
Mary.
I told you y'all had a lot of
Mary
names.
Ella Blackshear.
Mary Ellen.
Butts Blackshear.
Butts back here. Wow. Okay.
Sister Butts.
I about to say. I wonder if is that her family?
Yeah.
City. But,
Who?
the one she passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say within the past like 7 years or so. Sister Butts. I know that
Ain't
she's.
Salad.
I think it was
Yeah,
Salad.
Dolly Butts, yes.
Yeah, my mother's brother was named Jesse Butts.
Okay.
And then his wife passed away after he did.
Okay.
That was Salome Butts.
Yeah, I think
And
that
she was a missionary too.
Your mother?
No,
Salad.
That was your mother's sister?
Sister-in-law.
Oh, sister-in-law?
Yeah, sister-in-law.
She was married to her Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
That's why you know. It was down Miller Street. That's why you know.
Yeah, I remember her. When I
That's
was
why
there.
you know.
I knew her.
Do you know, or can you recall if your mother gave your father any suggestions on how to do things? Because back then, women were kind of Docile, they were kind of quiet.
She was kind of bossy too. What did you say?
She was opinionated.
She was bossy. That's nice.
Because my mother, she used to help with the dinners all the time.
Okay.
She could cook?
Yeah, and they used to cook on the street to her Sister Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Wow. To help raise
her
money.
and Missionary Jackson, yes.
Wow.
That's good stuff.
Did your mom wear hats?
Not often.
No.
My mother pictures no hat on her.
Beautiful woman. She was a beautiful woman. I have pictures of things that I've done for the church. I have a picture of her that I'll be using.
And I have pictures on the wall and that.
Wow. So when Brother Willie comes back, I might have to come and make copies and
Make some barbecue.
There you go.
Wow. What was your father's favorite meal that your mom made? Do you remember?
Chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken and steak. Whatever go with that.
Some rice.
Gravy.
Some chicken.
Chicken and gravy and rice, look, and collard greens.
Can't go wrong.
Did you guys have to, as the kids, did you guys have to participate and do different things and carry on when, like, certain people weren't in place? Did you guys have to, like, sing or do certain
Mildred.
things?
My sister Mildred.
She was the singer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And my father used to like to sing when I take my vacation in heaven. And Blow Gable.
Wonderful. I don't know if I know that song.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
I bet somebody do
Well,
know.
Blow
okay,
Gable
she has-
And I
judgment.
take my vacation to heaven. What
Yeah,
a
Al Wood
wonderful
is
time
on
it would be.
So we'll have Brother Willie, Coach Willie, come up and sing his grandfather's favorite song.
Then the church will be ran out.
Wonderful. This is really wonderful to get an opportunity
Oh.
to talk with you. Yes,
You
Brother
got
Willie.
more. You got more than I got.
The pastor, Freddie Pringle, for a short period, everybody called us our singers, and I learned that I couldn't sing.
You learn, huh?
Yeah, well.
Okay. Now, Mother Wilson, when they moved from 401 Catherine Street, that's where they moved to 110 Washington Street?
Yes,
Or did it-
because Ella Griffin was in charge when they moved from
Okay.
401 Catherine Street over on Washington Street.
Did you guys already know, like, when your dad passed away, that Pastor Elder Griffin Sr. would take over? Like, some people just know, oh, we got to work that out and figure it out. But, or you guys just automatically
He
know
was the
what's gonna happen?
assistant, she said. He was the assistant.
Yeah, but there's a lot of assistants that didn't just take up the place.
You're right, you're right.
So I figured, did they have to vote? Did they have to, was it a
I don't
smooth transition?
I don't think they had to vote because we know Ella Griffin was going to be passed.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to let another preacher come in and take over.
I know that's right.
Was it long after your dad passed away that they moved from Catherine Street to Washington Street? And was Washington Street a new building that they had to build? Or was it already a church?
No, it was already a church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. I never knew that.
No.
I thought
And
it
that
was
was right down the street from
The
Hope
other
Chapel.
church.
From Hope Chapel.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, Hope Chapel was over on Catherine Street.
Yeah. I remember that. My grandmother, you got a picture of our family in front of Hope Chapel.
Yeah.
Some of the founding people.
Yeah.
it's interesting how our history's like learning crossover and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you remember what year it was? Because I have it written down. But do you remember what year it was when they moved to 110 Washington Street?
I don't remember.
I have it. I do have that written down. Do you remember how old the pastor was when his father was? Was he little? He was our pastor now when his father moved to 110 Washington Street to start the church.
He was a teenager.
Oh, okay.
He was a teenager?
Yeah, he was a teenager.
Now, your sister, which is the pastor's mother, Sister Mary, did she know her son was going to be the pastor? Did she ever talk to you about that? I mean, did she know he was going to be in ministry?
Yeah, she knew he was going to be a minister because she used to talk about it.
In fact, my grandfather was told all of us in the yard
Oh, he told you out in the yard one day?
that he would be the pastor.
Wow. Wow. That's good stuff.
You guys were playing in the yard?
Yeah.
He just like just sat y'all down, let y'all know he could be pastor one day.
He would be the pastor. That's what we used to play church.
That's what you know.
Oh, he said he had a head just like a preacher.
But that's what we basically did. We played church all the time.
Wow.
And you played, you was Clown Bolger, huh?
I was sneaking around boxing.
Oh, you were sneaking around boxing? You couldn't box?
No, I could box.
No, I mean, you're
Did
not
they let you?
allowed to box.
He wasn't.
Now, you say you could box, but...
No, he wasn't. I don't think they were letting you to do a lot of sports then. My father was the one that got me to do sports.
Really?
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. That's good.
The things you didn't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sister Sammy probably can remember something that you don't have down there.
Wonderful. This is good.
That's real good.
So we're gonna interview Sister Sammy and see what information she can give
Match
us.
it up.
Also, the Freemans. When do you remember the Freemans? Because we're gonna interview them as well.
Freeman, before he got married, he was working in the barber shop with Ella Griffin Sr.
Mm-hmm. I remember that barbershop.
And then our sister Mayor and them, they used to live on Seymour Ave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the Freeman used to live over there in Mayor and them house on Seymour Ave.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be where he met Sister Freeman, I'm not sure.
Wow.
But she'll tell you.
Yeah. We have a lot.
Okay.
Oh, Sister Freeman will probably tell a lot too.
Yeah.
What that is, well,
I think she was standing on some second or third floor.
And you're in Mary's house?
When they were younger, I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
yeah, Sister Freeman and her sister, they lived in there in Mayor and them house over on Seymour Ave.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, I think this is really, really good. It gives us a foundation and give us some information that perhaps we did not know as current members of St. Matthew's Temple about the historic value and how much we value you with all this information, and just to be able to sit down and talk with you face to face is valuable.
Too bad I won't be here too.
Yeah, we gotta get you a DVD or something.
Okay.
Yeah, send it down there so you can see it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And you have a safe trip down to Florida.
Sure gonna